So hello everyone. So in this experiment, which is experiment number 4, we are going to talk about single layer perceptron. So in this experiment, we will implement single layer perceptron model using Penguin dataset, and this dataset contributes to attributes such as bill length, bill depth, flipper length, body mass, and species. So let's proceed further. So the first question here is to, as usual, import the dataset. I have done it using pd.read.csv. So as you can see, this is the dataset which I have used only for 5 columns. After that, the second question is perform data processing. In this steps, we are performing data processing, which means first we handle missing values, replace them with mean value of that respective column. Next, we convert that categorical variable into species, that is species into numerical values using label encoding, since machine learning algorithm requires a numerical input. That's the output. So the next question is choosing the independent and the dependent variables. In this step, we separate the dataset into independent variables and dependent variables. So the input features are bill length, bill depth, flipper length, and body mass. The output variable is species, which represents the class label. This is the output. And the next one is standardize the input features. In this step, we standardize the input features using standard scalar, and standardization transforms the data so that it has mean equal to 0 and the standard deviation equal to 1. This helps the perceptron model learn more efficiently. The next one is splitting the data into training and testing. Now we split the dataset into training and testing. 80% of the data is used for training the model and 20% is used for testing the model. That's all about this. The next one is assign the learning rate, number of iterations, and initial weight and bias. So here, in this step, we initialize the learning rate, the number of iterations, weight, bias. The learning rate is set to 0.01. The model is trained to 100 epochs. Initially, the weights and the bias values are set to 0. That is this. Next, calculate the updated weight in iterations in every iteration in the training. So in this step, the perceptron is trained. For each training sample, we calculate the linear output, apply activation function, compute the error, update the weights and bias. This process is repeated for all epochs to maximize the classification errors. Yeah, this is the answer for that. The next question is display the final weight of each input attribute after the training. So here, after the training, the final weights and bias values are displayed. These values represent the learned parameter of the perception model. So here we plot the iteration versus the error. Here we plot the iteration versus the training error. This graph helps us to visualize the model error decrease during training and indicating that the perceptron is learning. That's the meaning of this. The next is prediction on test dataset. In this step, we used train perceptron model to predict that the class labels for the rest of the dataset. So the predictions are stored and displayed here. This is the very flat. The last question is display the confusion matrix, calculate the performance metrics such as accuracy, precision, recall, and others. So here we first evaluate the model performance such as confusion metrics, accuracy, precision, and recall, and F1 score. The result shows that the model achieved 100% accuracy, indicating that all test and samples were correctly classified. So in conclusion, we can say that we have successfully implemented single layer perceptron model for classification using Penguin dataset. This model was trained and evaluated successfully, achieving high accuracy and correct classification of species. Thank you.